Hey guys, so originally I was just gonna add this onto my boob vlog video, but I started recording it and it took me like an additional 10 minutes. So I figured I would just do a whole separate video on it. So this is questions and answers about my breast augmentation. So the first question that I have on here is why? For me, when I was growing up, I honestly didn't even want big boobs. Like, I was doing gymnastics, and so it was favorable to have smaller boobs. It was easier to do more skills, and honestly, it kind of just fit better in a leotard. So growing up, I never wanted big boobs. When I was pregnant and when I was breastfeeding, my boobs went from like a C cup to a D, and then a double D, and then a really big double D that didn't fit into my double D bras. But after breastfeeding, I lost a lot of breast tissue. My D went down to a C, and then to a B, and then my boobs stopped fitting in my B cup and were probably A cups or smaller, but I refused to admit it, so I just never bought new bras. But when you do breastfeed, you lose a lot of breast tissue after you stop breastfeeding. So for me, I was going back and forth on getting a boob job for years. I think I originally thought about the idea about 3 years ago. My daughter's almost 3.5 now, so I kind of wanted to get it back. Obviously you can work out your body to get rid of fat, but there's not much that you can do to get bigger boobs. So I decided that I was gonna get a boob job. I asked a bunch of my friends who had boob jobs how they feel about theirs. I asked them about their surgeons. I asked them about the cost. I asked them basically everything that you guys asked me. And I went back and forth for years trying to find the right answers. Really, there is no right or wrong answer. There is no yes or no, should you get it or not. It's just a matter of, do you really want it? And for me, after 2 years, I decided that yeah, I really do want it. And after having the surgery, I just kind of realized that I wish I got it sooner. That's all I have to say on that. As far as when, this is currently 1 week post-op. My recovery is going phenomenal. I have full range of motion. My pain is a 1 to a 4, but normally like a 1 to a 3. I'm still on my painkillers. I take 1 or 2 a day, which isn't a lot, but I'm slowly starting to switch over to like acetaminophen. So we'll see about that. I had my boob job done at Asian Pacific Plastic Surgery on Oahu, and my surgeon's name was Dr. Ching. I believe his Instagram is Ching MD, but I'll put it down in the caption. I found him on Instagram, and I've seen a bunch of plastic surgeons on Instagram in Hawaii that I've been going back and forth on. After years of going back and forth, I did decide on Dr. Ching, and I'm so happy with the results, so happy with the process. The results are phenomenal, and the recovery is nothing to complain about personally. So the whole breast augmentation process for me is kind of split into like 3 parts: the before, during, and after. Before the surgery, you meet for a consultation. I got in touch with them through Instagram, and then I set up a consultation. I went in, we picked out sizes, I got to meet the doctor, I met some of his team, and it was a really good experience. After the consult, you come in for a pre-op appointment. At the pre-op, you have tests done, so you have blood drawn to make sure you're not pregnant, because you obviously can't undergo anesthesia when you're pregnant. We finalized the sizes, and we took the before pictures. After the pre-op was the surgery day. As far as surgery, I have a vlog on the day before, the day of, and the week following. So after your surgery, they send you home, and there's a 24-hour period where you're on anesthesia and you're not supposed to be left alone, so you should be supervised. So the anesthesia is wearing out of your body, that you're also supposed to be taking your meds, which do include prescription grade painkillers, and you should definitely be monitoring how much you're taking and how often you're taking it. So it's really important to have somebody there for the first 24 hours. My recovery was probably one of the best that I've ever heard of. After I came home from surgery, I had full range of motion. My pain has never exceeded a 4. Granted, I was on painkillers for the first week, but my biggest tip is to drink lots of water, especially if you can get a cup with a straw. It's a lot easier to drink water when you're drinking out of a straw versus like sipping up, so you'll drink a lot more. On top of that is to ice. So I iced for the first 3 days, basically 24 hours a day. And I would just take it out when I showered and whatever. Obviously, it's important to keep your incisions clean. So for that, I just use this CVS wound wash. and I'd cover that with the Aquaphor ointment. And lastly, I did have a little bit of bruising, super minor bruising, and so I would just roll on this kind of pain relief, muscle relief, bruise and injury, whatever. Yeah. So a question that I get asked a lot and that I had for myself was, can you breastfeed after this? And the answer is yes. With this particular incision and the way that my surgeon did my surgery, I should still be able to breastfeed after. So the thing is, if you could breastfeed before your boob job, you shouldn't have any problems breastfeeding after. If you had problems before, then the chances of you having it after are obviously higher. But I had no problem breastfeeding, thankfully, with my first child. So if I do have any other kids and I do breastfeed, I shouldn't have an issue with it. As far as the recovery, you do have a month-long period where you're not supposed to pick anything up or push or pull anything that's heavier than 10 pounds. So that's for the first 4 weeks. The next question is, do you still have feeling in your nipples? Now that's a tricky question. Immediately after surgery, you're completely numb. So your incision area and your breasts are completely numb, and you slowly regain feeling. So your nerves reconnect and they kind of figure everything out. So in the beginning, I didn't even really have much feeling on my boobs. Right now, I currently do not have feelings in my nipples, but that's normal and the feeling should come back within a couple weeks. Nothing to be worried about. Like I said, it's a normal process for a breast augmentation. You are splitting apart nerves and muscle and all that. So it makes sense that you will lose feeling temporarily, but it will all come back. And I'll keep you updated on my story as to when I regain feeling in my nipples. Another question is, am I gonna go bigger? And that's a good question. So after talking to the nurse, she did tell me that I do have a little bit of swelling still, which is normal, but I'm actually really happy with this size. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about the size when the swelling does go down. Hopefully I still love it, and I'm pretty sure that I will. But on top of that, when I do have another kid, your boobs do grow, so mine will grow. When I breastfeed, they will grow. And when I'm done having kids, maybe I'll do a breast reconstruction or something. We'll see. But as of right now, I'm very happy with the size, and I do not plan on going bigger anytime soon. Another question that I got is, can you travel with the breast augmentation? And so to some of you, that might sound funny, but after I got my boobs done, it made sense. When your implants are injected, there's actually air injected with it, just like the way you squeeze a implant in. So the air gets trapped in your pockets that they make along with your implants. And so for the first couple of days, my boobs actually gargled. So it's like a gargling sound that you'd hear in your stomach or that you'd make with your mouth. It also sounds like popping sounds or snapping. And that's just normal. That's just the air pockets popping. And your body does dissolve the air and that goes away. But you are safe to travel basically immediately after the surgery. The air pockets are not something to worry about. And last but not least, the one question that I've received more than anything, how much did it cost? So each surgeon has a different price point, each state has a different price point, each incision area probably has a different price point. As far as price range, every state is different. I've heard that it's common to get boobs done in Miami for $3,000, $11,000 in California. In Hawaii, the range that I heard most commonly was $9,000 to $11,000. I did hear about some $5,500 if you do it cash. I've heard about some $7,000. My doctor was somewhere in between, but obviously the better surgeons are going to charge more. They're going to cost more. You get what you pay for. Obviously check their work to confirm that, but there's nothing wrong with paying for a higher price surgeon if they're worth it. But I can tell you that my price would not have changed if I did a bigger boob job, bigger CCs, more CCs, or if I had less CCs. I'm so happy with my results, and I wouldn't change anything about the process. If I had to do this all over again, I would still go to the same surgeon. I would still do the same sizing. If I do any surgeries in the future, I will be hitting up Dr. Ching and his team at Asian Pacific Plastic Surgery. In fact, I'll be going back in about a week to get my lips done. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching my Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I answered your questions. Bye!